So at the beginning of the year, I showed you this space behind me that I wanted to turn into my herb garden. So that was May. Now it's September. So let me turn my camera and I'll show you what I did. So this is the far away look. Doesn't look like much is happening, but there's a lot going on. So I grew some thyme here. I've already harvested some for over the winter, so I still have lots left. Lavender, and there's still some that is flowering, so I've harvested some lavender, used it in teas. Next to the lavender is a rose bush. There's nothing flowering here, but I did take off a couple of roses to use for, who knows, face spray. I'm not sure. I dried them. And then next, my little mint patch went crazy, which was what I was hoping for. So I've had lots of mint tea over the summer, and again, I'm drying pieces of mint so I can have that for the winter. Next to mint is Ashwaganda. So it did really well here. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do with it. I think I need to harvest the root, which means it won't come back next year. But anyway, it did do well here, so that's good to know. And then I have this random feverfew that just grows everywhere, and I love it. It's so pretty. It's so cute. So it's in my rock path, but I'm going to leave it. I don't know if I'm going to harvest it or not. It's really, really bitter to have. When you have it in a drink, it really helps with migraines. I guess if you had a migraine, you would kind of do whatever you need to do to get rid of it. So I guess maybe I should harvest a little bit of it. Beside that is my little bit of stevia. I have harvested a bit of stevia to dry. So once it's dried, I can ground it up and put it into teas or coffees or whatever I want to use. And then next to that is lemon balm. Enjoyed lots of lemon balm over the summer in tea as well. Some dill that is fallen over, but I've used lots of dill in canning. I'm hoping that these seeds are just going to kind of spread themselves so I can just have more come up next year. Next to that is Calendula, and this plant was actually gifted from a friend who is now my neighbor, and it's only one plant, but it's just huge. It's just amazing. I have been harvesting off this thing all year, taking the flowers, drying them out. So I think next year, because it's so big, I'm actually going to put it near the back of the wall because I think that'll look really pretty there. And then next to that is lemon verbena. This has been beautiful in teas, making teas, so I am going to dry some of that for the winter. I have been drying that. You can see this little plant here. I've used so much of it, maybe too much. This is chocolate mint, and if you know me, you know my love for chocolate, so this was used quite a bit. I did grow some pepper plants in here. My thought was maybe we could just come out and like pop a pepper in our mouth. That didn't really work, so I don't think next year I'm going to plant any food in here except for some strawberries, which I'll show you in a bit. And then I also planted a cherry tomato plant because I figured the same thing. Oh, we will just come out here and just pop a cherry tomato. I harvested so many cherry tomatoes from our big garden that I didn't really need that extra one there. So I'll fill that space in. Probably put my lemongrass back there because it did really good, and again, it's just really tall, so I'll probably put my lemongrass back there and my calendula back there, and that'll look quite nice. I did plant some catnip. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but it is planted there. I did have some Swiss chard planted in this area. The chickens ate it all, so I didn't have any. Oh, and I was gifted this sorrel too. No, sorrel. I said pronounced it wrong. Sorrel. And it's like a lemony lettuce. So it's doing pretty good. We've been eating a lot of it. The chickens found it, ate a bit of it, but we've been able to eat some more. I did plant some sunflowers at the back, but they fell over. But it would have been nice. In my mind, it looked really nice. Some other things that I planted here was kale, but you can see the moths got to them, so that didn't work out really well. I do have some oregano that's just kind of popping up all over, so that's fine. I've been harvesting that. And then you can see these flowers, these geraniums just came up everywhere. So anyway, overall pretty good. I'm going to make some changes next year. On this side, I did plant some peas. I've already harvested the peas, but I did get these beans, which I love, so I'm so excited next year. I'm going to plant a whole bunch of them. I don't know, they just didn't germinate, so This was the only plant that made it, but so pretty. So next year, imagine like that one full, and that full, and that full of these bean plant with these pretty red flowers. So I'm excited for that. One thing that I did do is this, this wall. And my plan was to have it like a food wall. And so I planted some cucamelons, and I planted some strawberries. So I didn't do the cucamelons, I didn't get any cucamelons. I'm not sure if I didn't start them early enough or if it was my pot, I'm not sure. They just did not do well here, so I will try them again next year. I love the vine, I think that's great. The strawberries were fantastic, and these were ever-bearing strawberries, so we were able to just come out here on a regular basis and pick them. They got a little dry, so that's why I don't have any yet. I should have taken better care of them, but I was on vacation. Anyway, so that was great. So next year I hope to have like a wall of these ever-bearing strawberries, because that was fun to come out and eat strawberries. And then the other stuff that I had on here, blueberries. Hopefully next year I'm gonna do a fence around my garden in October, so I'll be able to transplant all these blueberry plants to there. And then we just had a really bad year for greens. I couldn't grow spinach. The moths and the chickens ate the kale, and the chickens ate, this was chard. I replanted this, but it's struggling. So I think next year I'm just going to plant it in the garden, plant lots of it, then there's enough for all of us to share, like I do every other year. Basil, so I've taken a bit of the basil already to dry. Parsley we've been using. Rosemary, I've taken a bit to dry. And then these are strawberries, not ever-bearing, but just regular strawberries. Yeah, that's it. So it's good. I'm, as always, looking forward to next year, just to move things around and buy more herbs. I think my herbs are used, I'm using a lot of them for tea. So if you have any suggestions for herbs for tea that I don't have, let me know, and I would love to include it in my tea herb garden, because this has been really fun. When I'd have my yoga classes, I would just come to the tea garden and I would grab a few leaves of whatever I felt like that day, and then I would pour some hot water over top, and we'd have this lovely tea that came right from my garden. So that was just such an experience. I loved it. So yeah, anyway, that's the update. Stay tuned for next year. Be some changes.